From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, security gang. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. Great to be with all of y'all this Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. I'm recording this really late at night. Like, not gonna lie, I'm not exactly alive at the moment. Like, I'm with y'all in spirit. However, I had some schedule changes and I needed to pre-record the episode and get it out to all of y'all in the time y'all expect it the night before. So I'm recording nearly midnight. Whenever, if something happened between midnight and 9 a.m., I'm sorry, I missed it. I'll cover it tomorrow morning. I promise tomorrow's show will be live back in our brand new studio in Atlanta. So really excited about that as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get the show going. Again, really late. I want a coffee cup cheers with all of y'all, but I also want to get a few hours of sleep before my schedule changes completely and throws me off my loop. So coffee cup cheers to all of y'all. Make sure to subscribe, follow, share, like, comment. Go check it out. Check out our YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. Every time we go live, you get that notification. You join us. We can see all of your comments. Love it. Same thing with our Substack, jamesazar.substack.com for exclusive writing. Now, coffee cup cheers, and let's get the ball rolling here this Wednesday, where Delta Airline remains the main victim suffering from the outage caused by the CrowdStrike update. The airline's chief executive officer said it will take a couple of more days before the worst is clearly behind us. Delta's chief information officer said Monday that the airline was still trying to fix a vital crew scheduling program, which is what's setting them back apart. Now, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg spoke to Delta CEO Ed Bastian, who runs a multi-billion-dollar company. Pete Buttigieg, his name to fame is being the mayor of a small town in Indiana. So apparently he's supposed to tell Delta CEO, who runs a multi-billion-dollar business, how to run his business. Buttigieg says, we've gotten hundreds of complaints about Delta, and he expects the airlines to provide hotels and meals for travelers. And this is where the thick gets thicker, right? So Delta itself has canceled around 5,500 flights since the outage started early Friday, including at least 700 flights that were canceled Monday, and a few hundred over the last few days. Next up was United. They canceled around 1,500. They canceled 17 flights on Monday. So again, kind of you're seeing that American Spirit, Frontier, and Allegiant of all kind of, back up and running by operation. But again, Delta Airline is a very tech savvy company. I know that because I fly Delta everywhere I go. Delta's always been kind to me. So I take kind of this accusation of Delta not taking care of the customers a bit personal, because they've always taken care of me. I've had multiple trips where there were setbacks, etc., and the Delta customer service and the staff, the ground crew, the people at the lounge, everyone has always been very kind. So I take a little personal kind of nudge to this whole idea. Delta is significantly impacted by this. I can tell you, I've spoken to people at Hartfield Jackson, seeing the story, people I know at the airport, at TSA, and other places. Just the frequency of my travels has allowed me to make some friends at the airport, and they've all said, like, hey man, it's been really crazy, it's taken forever, but really the main challenge they had is getting their vital crew system back up and running, because their crew scheduler is essentially how they schedule crews for flights. And so it's not that they can't fly the planes. It's not that there's any danger to the avionics. It's they can't get the ground crew moving again at the speed. So they're having to cancel flights also because of flight requirements and union rules and labor rules around flight attendants. Hence, kind of some of the business hindering there that's stopping the airline. And again, you'd say, well, why is this a cyber story? Well, one, it's caused by the CrowdStrike outage, but then it just kind of shows you the snowball of how things kind of rocket, and a small snowball can become really large. And for Delta Airlines, that's 5,500 flights canceled. That's 100,000 customers. If you say an average flight had 200 people on it, 5,500. What are we talking about here? You know what I mean? Close to, not the best time of night to do math, right? But you can do it yourself, and obviously understand where I'm getting to here. And again, this is specific to Delta Airlines. We'll see how Ed Bastian and the team really kind of recover there. Delta Chief Information Officer Rahul Samant said 2 applications were particularly difficult to restart on Friday, one that manages traffic at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, and another that assigns pilots and flight attendants to flights. Again, the crew scheduling one is the one that's really set them back. And so there's that. CrowdStrike CEO, however, George Kurtz, has been called to testify about the cybersecurity company's role in sparking that widespread tech outage that grounded flights, knocked banks and hospital systems offline, and affected emergency services. Republicans that lead the House Homeland Security Committee said on Monday they want those answers soon. While we appreciate CrowdStrike's response and coordination with stakeholders, we cannot ignore the magnitude of the incident. With some claim the largest IT outage in history. The letter to Kurtz from Representative Mark Green of Tennessee and Representative Andrew Garbarino of New York. Data and Americans deserve to know in detail how the incident happened and what mitigation steps CrowdStrike is taking. So we now know that George Kurtz will likely be facing the probing questions from the congressmen and senators there. And by the way, I mean, they did an unbelievable job with the Secret Service. I don't know if you watched the hearing on the Secret Service director who finally resigned. Right, so finally there's some ounce of responsibility for failure in government. But it was bipartisan. It was great. It was good questions. No one grandstood. People asked really good questions. I hope they do the same here. I hope their staffers prepare them. I hope they're as excited and as prepared to ask George Kurtz really important questions about how this outage happened, what happened at CrowdStrike that pushed that update, why, their end user license agreement. There's a lot of questions to be had there. So we'll see how CrowdStrike deals with that. George Kurtz, the date has not been set yet for the hearing, but once he's scheduled to testify, I actually may make the trip to DC and go and attend that hearing. I'd be interested to see that. The decentralized finance crypto exchange Dydx announced on Tuesday that the website for its older V3 trading platform has been compromised. They're warning users not to visit or interact with the hacked Dydx.exchange platform, cautioning against withdrawing assets until the platform was deemed safe to use again. An update will be provided when available. The smart contracts are not compromised at this time, and any funds currently in the Dydx V3 are safe. The official Discord server earlier today said a community team member also shared that the attackers hijacked the crypto platform's domain and deployed a copycat website so that when users connect to their wallets, it's asking them to approve via permit 2 transactions to steal their most valuable tokens. They've also shared that the incident is believed to be linked to a wave of DNS hijacking attacks targeting DeFi crypto platforms using the Squarespace registrar, which is partially confirmed by the V3 website incident report, which links the incident to a DNS issue, which is, again, significant as we see these DNS issues become even more frequent. During the transition to Squarespace, MFA was turned off for Management Council. And while it's unclear if the attackers are hijacking the domains, a report from security researchers Sam Season and Taylor Monahan and Andrew Mohawk says the threat actors can gain full access using a valid address linked to the domains because Squarespace does not require email validation to create an account using password authentication. So you've got that there as well. KnowBe4, for those who don't know, security awareness training firm, one of our partners here on the show, and has been for many years, said that a North Korean operative posing as a software engineer slipped past their hiring background checks and spent the first 25 minutes on the jobs attempting to plant malware on a company workstation. Now, I interviewed KnowBe4 CISO on the show before. I'll actually put that at the end here on the YouTube so y'all can actually watch their CISO. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy, really smart, very bright. And so this person apparently got through the HR process, was hired, was shipped his Mac workstation, and then within 25 minutes started loading malware. Now, the workstation came preloaded with all the security tooling that a company like KnowBe4 would invest and use. And KnowBe4 said it flagged the incident on July 15th, 2024 at 9:55 p.m. Eastern when the anti-malware software sent alerts about anomalous activity. Once they investigated it, a new employee said he was following steps on his router guide to troubleshoot a speed issue that may have caused a compromise. However, the attacker performed various actions to manipulate session history files, transfer potentially harmful files, and execute unauthorized software. He used a Raspberry Pi to download the malware and then attempted to get more details from the employee, including getting him on a call, but he said he was unavailable for a call and later became unresponsive at around 10:20 Eastern. Stu said that the company contained the infected workstation, so no access was gained or compromised. And this for worker was likely a fake worker. And the address the workstation was sent to is basically an IT mule laptop farm. They then VPN in from where they really are, which is North Korea or over the border in China, and work the night shift so that they seem to be working in U.S. daytime. According to Stu, the scam is that they are actually doing the work, getting paid well, and given a large amount to North Korea to fund their illegal programs. I don't have to tell you about the severe risks of this. So cybersecurity companies are part of that. This is part of the challenge of remote work, background checks. Apparently, they used a fake AI kind of built identity. So you've got that as well. And now the question, I have is banking, onboarding, all of that, drug tests, any of that. So very, very interesting there. I hope KnowBe4 shares more information as it becomes available, but good for them to come forward and talk about this, even though they didn't have to. They did the right thing here. Private member information of the BreachForums version 1 hacking forum from 2022 has been leaked online, allowing threat actors and researchers to gain insight into the users. Multiple forums have operated under the name of BreachForums, all devoted to building a community of collectors and threat actors to trade, sell, and leak data stolen from breached companies. The first data breach forum to rise to prominence was Raid Forums, and then the FBI seized that in 2012. And then they've launched a remake of it called BreachForums to fill the void. That forum quickly rose to prominence, with threat actors proudly leaking massive amounts of stolen data, including data from U.S. Congress healthcare provider DC HealthLink, Robinhood, and Twitter, now known as X, via the exposed API. Soon after that, multiple sites, same name, kind of doing that. So BreachForums 1.0 data leak. A threat actor by the name of Emo leaked the personal information of 212,414 members of BreachForums 1.0. According to Emo, the data comes directly from Fitzpatrick, who allegedly attempted to sell it in June of 2023 for $4,000 while out on bail. Emo says the data was eventually purchased by 3 threat actors. Fitzpatrick was arrested again in January of 2024 for violating terms of his pretrial release conditions, including using an unmonitored computer and a VPN. It is not known if this was related to his attempted sale of this data or not. Someone named in July 2023, someone named Breached DB Person attempted to sell the forum database for $100,000 to $150,000 on the hacking forum. The seller also shared the for sale data with Troy Hunt, who told Bleaky Computer, and included the same data leaked by Emo and other database records. Hunt subsequently added the information to Have I Been Pawned data breach notification service there. So there's that. We continue with TracFone order to pay $16 million to settle an FCC cyber and privacy investigation. Verizon-owned TracFone Wireless will pay the $16 million civil penalty to end the investigation on its alleged failure to safeguard consumer data that led to 3 data breaches across 2 years. The breaches resulted from a malicious use of an API, which enables communication between different components. The APIs are often built in. The settlement requires TracFone to bolster its API security and action, an agency called Critical, due to how pervasive APIs are and how many unauthorized threat actors use them to breach websites or databases, etc. The settlement between the FCC and TracFone was first reported by Cyberscoop. TracFone did not respond to a request for comment. In addition to the $16 million fine, TracFone is required to create an information security program, including novel provisions diminishing API vulnerabilities, and doing so using standards set by NIST and the OWASP project, and then change its subscriber identity module, commonly known as SIM, and port out safeguards and undergo annual third-party assessments of its new information security program, and train employees and third-party working with it better understand privacy and security requirements. There's that. Chinese hacking group known as Evasive Panda was spotted using new versions of the MACMA backdoor and the Nightdoor Windows malware. Semantic threat hunting team spotted the espionage attacks targeting organizations in Taiwan and American NGOs in China. In the latter case, Evasive Panda exploited a flaw in the Apache HTTP server to deliver a new version of their signature modular malware framework, MGBot, indicating an effort to refresh their tools and evade detection. MACMA has been linked to Evasive Panda across multiple, including Google's tag team as well. The latest variant is suspected Evasive Panda attacks contains additional improvements like new logic, modified code, and audio recorder helper feature, additional parametricians, and additional debug logging, as well as a new file set options to adjust screenshot size and aspect ratio to give them better tooling there. So they continue to do that. In a development on the Russia-Ukraine front, Russia's cyber units are now moving away from strategic civilian targets to Ukrainian military objectives. Russian operatives are now targeting military computers and mobiles, in particular ahead of the summer kinetic offensive that aims to reclaim Ukrainian territory. This change in cyber strategy is due to a shift in priorities, according to the Royal United Service Institute. Initially, Russia was focused on launching attacks against civil infrastructure in the region, though this was on the assumption that the war would be short-term. However, Moscow has been rebalancing and overarching the concept of operations to emphasize target that can provide a more direct and tangible battlefield advantage, according to Dan Black, manager of the cyber espionage analysis at Google Cloud's Mandiant. Many Western analysts today has fixated on Russia's highly visible opening cyber offensive. However, they continue to target Ukrainian critical infrastructure. Now they're moving to their military infrastructure, so we'll see how that goes. That's it for our show this morning. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern live, hopefully in our brand new studio. Should be done by then. So until then, have a great rest of your day, and most importantly, y'all, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.